What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Atlantic Files, the number one podcast on the number one division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network, joined by your host, myself, Alex Fishbein. We got big, sexy Dennis Clausen. Mike will be on the way at some point, so he will be joining.
So he claims.
Exactly. He claims he'll be on the way. So
he doesn't want none of this. He's not going to show up.
I'm waiting to see what kind of debate he brings, even to you, about the Brooklyn Nets. So
the only debate he's doing right now, we know what that is. Know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I feel you.
And I want to give a hold on.
Go ahead. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Hold on. We got some important business to discuss.
My apologies. Go ahead.
Do you see how good my hair and my beard looks right now? I just got a fresh cut.
You've been keeping it cut every week. I appreciate that.
You have to. I knew I wasn't here last week, so I knew coming back on the show that I was going to have to come back. So, looking better than ever. And my boy Johnny fixed me up.
Of course. Hey, Johnny does a good job. That's a barber you got to keep right there.
Mm-hmm. Like 5 years I've been with him. I took a nap in the chair. It was fantastic.
Did he still cut your hair while you were sleeping?
Yeah, oh yeah, he's a pro. Look at this.
That's one of the best barbers you can have.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll wait to talk some more Nets with Mike, because I also need to get Mike's opinion on everything. And I come in peace this week. I'm not here to make fun of anybody. I'm not here to say I told you so, even though I will say I told you so about Andre Drummond. But we'll get to that.
Let me tell you something though, honey. You're the last guy right now. You're not in a position to make fun of anybody either.
I mean, trust me, I'm very worried about the Sixers right now. So we can talk about that. So hold on, let me bring up our thing here. So, at one point in time, the Sixers were up 3-0. They are now only up 3-2. 2 games in a row, the Sixers come out with zero energy, zero offensive skill, zero defensive skill. Embiid has his thumb injury, but he says he's going to play through it. He's going to get surgery in the offseason. So at this point, there's no excuses. You can't. The moment you decide to play through your injury, your excuses are done, in my opinion. So it's all well and good. He's playing through it, as he should, as the leader of the team, as the best player of the team, because if he's out, the team has zero chance of anything. But it really looks like the thumb is getting into his head. He's not playing with any sort of competitive fire as he was in the first 3 games. And you would think, say you hit a game-winning shot in the playoffs. Wouldn't you come out the next game like shit hot and cocky and rock hard? Like,
absolutely.
He came out the next game and just looked like he was like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. They looked like they expected to just be handed the last game in a sweep.
Well, when is enough going to be enough, though, with Joel Embiid? And what I mean by this is, what is my biggest knock on Joel Embiid all the time?
The injuries.
Right. What happened last postseason with Joel Embiid?
Injured.
He got hurt.
Yep.
So he had a good season this year. He had a pretty good stretch, minus the little COVID thing, but that wasn't his fault. He had a really good season of staying healthy, which was a huge, boost for him in terms of his MVP stock. Mm-hmm. However, now we're in the playoffs where it matters. Joel Embiid hurt again. So he's not street clothes. I don't think he has enough. He has enough pride, and he cares enough to at least be out there, because he knows that if he wasn't out there, the backlash he's going to get is going to be horrendous. But you could definitely see that the thumb injury is totally affecting him. He's not scoring as well as he could be. He's not shooting as well. Like you said, he lost that fire.
Mm-hmm.
The Sixers are in trouble right now. And James Harden's not helping him out in any way, shape, or form.
Not at all, shooting below 40% from the floor.
James Harden is playing like complete garbage right now. Danny Green's almost probably playing better than Harden is right now, as weird as that. Tobias Harris is playing better. Like, all these guys right now are playing a lot better than James Harden, who absolutely isn't doing a thing. He was 4 for 11 the last game.
Mm-hmm.
Can't shoot a 3-point. At least before he could shoot a 3-point shot, he can't even do that anymore.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and Tyler says here, what's up, Tyler? First,
Tyler.
Of course, we have to have you on for an episode.
Mm-hmm.
If the Sixers go to a Game 7, they're probably going to lose. Doc's the head coach. Yeah, I mean, it's been well documented that Doc.
No pun intended. No pun
exactly.
Intended. Doc just blows.
Agreed. I mean, and he actually defended himself in an interview today. And I was sitting there just like, I understand you want to defend yourself because a lot of people are coming at his neck right now. And it's with good reason. So, like, there's a long list of stuff that shows that Doc is notorious for coming up short in these situations. I mean, there was an ESPN stat that said he has lost 30-some games to close out a series.
I mean, when are we going to acknowledge that Doc Rivers is not that good?
Exactly.
And but for some reason, like, the Lakers have been rumored to be making a run at Doc Rivers. The Sixers front office should be like, pretend like Doc's actually a good coach so they can maybe get a little something, but they need to let that just leave. Like, he's not a good coach.
I know. He's an above average coach that if you give him a superstar roster, he could get you there once in a while. Like, he got that Celtics roster, he got to a championship once, when in reality they probably should have won at least 2.
You could have got him to a title.
Exactly.
Like, you didn't need a coach for that.
No. And now he's had good rosters at the Clippers. He's had good rosters here with the Sixers. And what's he done? Hasn't even gotten past the second round. So there's not much to say about Doc Rivers, the coach. And
yeah, there is. He sucks.
Well, that's what I mean. There's not much good to say about it. Of course, he's on like the top of the list for all-time wins and stuff like that because he's been coaching for so long and because he's gotten those super good teams. But not because he's some sort of like Popovich or anything like that.
Well, a lot of people might treat him like he's Popovich. He's no Pop, I'll tell you that.
No. He even said, like, would you ask this question to Popovich? No, because Popovich has more respect.
Right. Don't even put yourself in. You're delusional if you want to even bring up for any reason why you wouldn't ask that question to Pop.
Exactly. And that's exactly why, like, when he was defending himself, losing all these leads, he was like, "Oh, well, if you look at my Orlando team, we were an 8 seed, and that was the champion Detroit team that ended up beating us when we were 3-1." And then I was like, you know what? I'll give you that one. You're right. You were an 8 seed. But what about every other time when you weren't an 8 seed and you still gave up those leads and leads?
I mean, you had Lob City. Look how good Lob City was.
Exactly. They were like a top 4 seed every year.
Yeah, the greatest point guard ever. Arguably, like, one of them. Lately, he's like the greatest point guard ever. Everybody's treating him that way. You had Blake Griffin. You had Andre Drummond, who was actually good back then.
Right.
And you had all these, talented pieces on a Clippers team that could have made a run, and you didn't even do a good job with that.
Exactly. It literally just doesn't make any sense. And real quick, Maggie says, "Yo, Alex, tell Bosco I say hey. Will do."
Hi, Maggie. She doesn't say hi to Dennis?
No, I guess not.
Or what am I?
That's Deanna's younger sister.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
um,
She got the cash too, or what?
Not yet. She's in college. She's in the broke college kid phase.
Make sure you study.
So that you can make money like Deanna.
Right.
But
and you don't wind up hosting a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to end up like us.
So please, Maggie, do your homework, honey, okay?
But the big thing with this whole series, too, is the Raptors always... You and I talk about how much we love the Raptors all the time.
I fucking love the Raptors.
They play like... They don't care who they're going up against. They're going to give their 1,000% every single day. And on top of that, when, Sixers fans or whatever might give the excuse of like, oh, well, Joel Embiid hurt his thumb. Okay, Thaddeus Young hurt his thumb. Gary Trent Jr. had a high fever for like three or four games. Fred VanVleet is out with a hip injury. Scotty Barnes got his foot stepped on, missed a game, and is playing on half a foot and ankle.
Scotty Barnes twisted his ankle.
Yeah.
Came back, hurt his ankle again, and then still went out there and played.
Exactly.
And you know what's fucked up too? If you actually think about how much better the Raptors would have been this season and even last season if they actually had home court advantage. And what I mean by that is they actually had fans to give them a home court.
Right.
You know what I mean? Instead of this bullshit, we're going to lock everybody out of like Toronto was a 5 seed just with like no fans really for a good chunk of the season. They didn't even have a home court, but yet they still were productive. And they did that a lot with Pascal Siakam wasn't available for like the first month or a little after because he had the shoulder surgery.
Yep.
So,
and this is a team where Nick Nurse played his starters like 40 minutes a game all season too.
Oh yeah, he went to the Mike D'Antoni, Tom Thibodeau school of let's run our starters into the ground.
Exactly. So there's no excuse from any kind of Sixers fan or anything that can say like, oh, well, we had this and they didn't have that. Like, no, the Raptors have a lot less skilled, like actual skilled playmakers and players on offense in general, and they're still playing their asses off and at this point on the verge of making history.
Well, here
Mike is here.
And he's eating. It's a shock.
Then, Alex, if you would have told me, I would have worn my Pizza Planet shirt as well, but you didn't give me a heads up.
I didn't know you had one.
I have multiple Pizza Planet shirts, but they're both at Katie's house.
What's Pizza Planet?
It's from Toy Story.
It's the best pizzeria there ever was.
I think Luigi on the corner of 5th and, 84th Street might have something to say about that.
In what city? I feel like there's a Luigi's Pizza in every
city.
Pick one.
Pick one. Right next to Joey's Pizza.
Exactly.
It's right next to Joey's Deli.
But what were you going to say about the Raptors?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I can't. I lost my train of thought because all I'm watching is this thing eat.
Dennis got a fresh cut.
Yes, he did.
Excited for the NFL draft.
That's right.
He's making his fat man boobs jiggle.
That's right.
The first day of the draft is tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Raptors, I think that next season, if they're all squared away, if everybody's healthy, that they're going to, and they have actual fans that can actually show up and actually enjoy something instead of being locked in their closet for, that they're actually going to be a much better team.
Oh, yeah. I agree. And I think if they make any kind of move, like if they made the one move I think would have put them a bit over the top this year if they did it, was a trade for Miles Turner.
I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, that's just they've always needed an actual defensive center that can contribute a little in the offensive game.
Well, what I would like to see is like Chris Boucher like actually play.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean,
like remember how good he was a couple seasons ago? He was like really playing well.
Oh, I agree.
And for some reason he's relegated to, like an afterthought. But I think a lot of the appeal too of Toronto is that they could play these smaller lineups and actually be quick enough. But the guys that they play, like Pascal, can actually defend and play good as a center or as a big man, and he's not really that big, but they could play small enough to where they could play quick. Right. So I having a guy whose foot is always broken or always injured, Miles Turner, I don't think that's going to be a thing that will propel them, because he'll miss half the season.
I mean, that's true too. I mean, if they also could have gotten Sabonis, that would have been humongous for them.
If they would have got Sabonis, game over.
Oh yeah, that would have been insane. Especially him and Scotty Barnes together would be
my man's the crazy. Rookie of the year.
Oh yeah, the
deserving
rookie of the year.
Nope. Should have been Evan Mobley.
Nope.
Nah.
So did Dennis tell you the statement I made to him yesterday or 2 days ago?
That he loves Kyrie?
No.
Oh.
That as of April 26, 2022, I no longer consider myself a fan of the Brooklyn Nets.
Really?
I now am full on a Denver Nuggets fan.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Fuck Brooklyn. Screw Ben Simmons.
I guess we'll switch
Joe
topics.
Harris and Nick Claxton and every single one of them. Steve Nash. I like Sean Marks because he knows how to draft. But
apparently not if you're bitching about Nico Claxton.
Because he can't shoot a goddamn free throw.
Where was your man's Cam Thomas?
Yeah, I don't know, but no, let's send out, I don't even know. Let's send
Where
out.
was Andre Drummond? Where?
Andre Drummond, I can understand being benched, though, because he was getting abused.
Yeah, but they were getting abused anyways. You're putting Blake Griffin in? I mean,
Blake Griffin at least played decent defense on anyone not named Jaylen Brown.
Well, he always does.
Blake Griffin got himself another 1-year contract. That's what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, he takes charges and things like that. So I don't mind Blake Griffin being on the floor.
Right.
Here's what I mind, okay? Steve Nash is a horrible coach.
Agreed.
All right. He didn't help anything. All right. 2, I got a problem with KD, and I've had that problem the entire time, okay? The whole point of this thing was him and Kyrie were coming to New York. They were going to build this super team. Nobody could beat Kyrie and KD together, blah, blah, blah. But his man went off the deep end as usual, all right? KD needs to stop being this laid-back guy, and he actually should have pulled his boy aside and been like, hey, listen, man, you need to get this shot, all right? Because I know you don't want to do it, but our team is suffering here. All right, whether he wants to do it, he could have injected bleach. Andrew Wiggins would have put bleach into his system, in order to play. He didn't want to get the shot either, and he still played. And Andrew Wiggins actually being available and getting himself vaccinated was a big reason why the Warriors were so successful, because he was playing so well in the first half of the season. All right. So KD, as the leader of that team, has a lot of blame to take for Kyrie, because you want to know something? Kyrie's a nutcase. We all know that. All right. Talented as hell. Big nutcase. They really need to think long and hard about these crazies on their team. All right. 2, I'm actually starting to buy into the fact that Ben Simmons is actually crazy.
I just want to say that's what she said, but continue.
What did she say?
Long and hard.
I guarantee you've never heard that in any capacity.
He has online.
Well, you can make stuff up online. So
No, he signed a 4-year deal. He ain't going anywhere.
He could. For those who are listening and not watching,
KD's going to retire in that.
Tyler asked if KD is going to leave the Nets.
No.
He could ask for a trade at some point if Kyrie keeps fucking around and doing this crazy shit.
Well, that's all on him, though. He's the guy. They need to have a come to Jesus moment, and he needs to be like, where are you at right now? All right? Because if Kyrie wasn't acting a fool throughout the season, James Harden probably wouldn't have been in Philadelphia right now. He would have still been
a role player anyway.
All right, but here's the deal. I think that the Nets would have had I know for a fact the Nets would have had a much better chance of advancing into the playoffs if they had James Harden, primarily because at least he was playing. And then, like I said before, I'm starting to actually buy into the fact that Ben Simmons is crazy.
I mean, the fact that they actually had that meeting with him and Rich Paul and the Nets brass, and he literally was like, no, I still want to play, but I just still have this mental block from last year's playoffs.
Yeah, he's just a giant pussy. That's what he is.
Exactly. Like, everyone gets, like, Philly fans and fans in general gave Markelle Fultz a lot of shit for having the yips when a bunch of things came out on him, whether it was the yips or not. But, like, what the hell? What's going on with him? He's just going to dress up like a bag of Skittles and sit on the sideline for the whole year?
Well, it's I like Skittles, by the way. I've been eating a lot of gummy worms, sour gummy worms. But anyways.
Those are good, too.
Yeah. Anyways. I was the first guy to defend Ben Simmons. Always. I never said anything bad about him. Because I always, wanted him to, turn his shit around. I can't defend this. And I'm not going to. All right, you had an entire, almost a year to get your shit together. And when your team was down 3-0, and Stephen A. Smith, a guy who's a complete buffoon in my opinion, for some reason he, makes a lot of money, but he actually said the smartest thing he ever actually said was, if Kyrie can play on Monday, which is when he was trending toward playing in Game 4. Yeah, Ben. If Ben was trending toward playing on Monday, why the hell couldn't he play Saturday?
Right.
Even if he played 15 minutes, that's
right.
15 minutes of less points scored by the Boston Celtics. So
15 minutes of somebody guarding Ben Simmons of Jason Tatum that could actually shut him down.
Well, he would also shut a lot of people down too.
And why wasn't he even in the arena for that last game? He wasn't even there. They said he didn't even show up.
Well, they might even if they got to take a hit on him, they might seriously want to consider doing something because.
Yeah, let's trade him to. Where can we trade him though? I mean,
I'll take Markelle Fultz at this point.
Markel's looking pretty good. I'm not.
He's looking damn good. At the end of the season, he's looking. I'll take him.
And that was right off a torn ACL.
I'll take him.
I mean, you could try and trade him to the Knicks.
Let's trade him to Toronto for Pascal Siakam.
I don't think anyone's trading anything of value for him right now.
Trade him to Orlando for Jonathan Isaac.
I would do something. I would try to get anything possible for this guy. And Kyrie too. I would trade Kyrie.
Let's trade him to Denver for Michael Porter Jr.
Perfect. Sold.
I was gonna say I think Dennis would have a conniption if they traded for Jonathan Isaac because that's the epitome of street clothes.
Yeah, but
trade him to LA for Anthony Davis.
No, I don't want that. I honestly would trade Ben Simmons for Russell Westbrook right now in a heartbeat.
What? No, we don't need more 6'3", 6'4" guys.
Because at least Russ plays,
and he's usually never hurt.
Nope. We talked about that before, too.
Yeah, he was hurt for one season.
He never is hurt. He is never hurt.
The only time he was hurt was Beverly diving at his knee.
And he's always in it. Like he's always playing his hardest.
Oh yeah. And so the big thing with me too was the post game. The I think it was post game. I don't think it was their exit interview or anything. But when Kyrie was just talking about how him, KD, and Marks and ownership are going to collaborate, as if they're all of a sudden like the GMs or like heads or like presidents of the team. And then on top of that, he finally was like, I feel like my absence might have been a distraction. No shit. Like, when did you come to this revelation?
Yeah, you think the absence might have been a distraction?
Maybe
a
he
little bit?
realized that the government's not trying to microchip African Americans and track them back into slavery through a vaccine. I don't know. like literally, that was what he said. Like he said that the vaccine was like to chain up all African Americans through microchipping. I was like, what
I
the
had
hell
nothing.
Are you talking about, man?
I'm not involved in that.
No, but
I'm quoting Kyrie Irving through his.
I like black people.
Instagram post.
all the theories about vaccinations are dumb in general. The 5G and the microchips and all that kind of stuff. It's all dumb. It's all dumb. So
not only is the Nets medical staff horrendous because they almost allowed LaMarcus Aldridge to die with a heart condition.
Yep.
Now we got to question whether they're like, can we send these guys to a specialist or something? Get their head examined?
Because Ben Simmons had to pass a physical to make the trade complete.
Is there? Well, for one, they missed a back issue, a pretty significant back issue.
Well, no, the back issue only happens when he's close to playing, and he gets nervous.
Apparently, because
like, you know how some people like shit when they're nervous.
Yeah,
Ben Simmons' back acts up.
It's like when Dennis is like supposed to go for a run, he starts hyperventilating. That's Ben Simmons with his back.
I could outrun you in 3 seconds.
No shot.
Oh God.
I'll come up to Syracuse and prove that.
We need to get that on video.
We go. I beat you in a race. I'll beat you anywhere.
We definitely need to record
beat me
that.
In anything.
Biggest manhood contest. Beat you there, hands easily.
Dennis is all talk.
Oh God. Well,
Remember,
go ahead.
well, just like I said a couple of weeks ago, the Bucks only beat the Nets by a mic bash.
What's that supposed to mean?
I forgot you said that.
Figure it out, honey. Anyways, go ahead, Alex.
What do you mean?
By an inch and a half of Kevin Durant's shoe on the line.
Hey, at least when I look down, I could see my feet.
I could see my feet. I could see a lot of things.
There's one,
pal.
You know what you can't see.
All right, we're gonna move on now.
Fuck up.
Oh God.
So we're gonna talk about who you guys played against. Do you think the Celtics can actually reach the finals? I thought they were gonna be nowhere close, but the way that they played, especially like the role players and everything, they look pretty damn good.
The Celtics, no, because as the playoffs go on, the refs are not going to let them get away with murder the way they play defense. They are the most fit. They just manhandled the Nets, and the refs didn't. If the refs wanted to, Kevin Durant could have shot 47 free throws a game. The guy wasn't even allowed to set a screen. He goes to set a screen, and Marcus Smart's, Mr. Fake Tough Guy is like shoving him out of the way. Like, it's ridiculous. That was the most awfully refed series I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, Marcus Smart's flops are all-time bad. So.
Well, the post up, Kevin Durant
it's not as bad as
LeBron got
LeBron.
called for a charge.
Yeah. Well, you got to think too. Like the big teams right now that are left in the East is Boston and Toronto. I think Toronto actually has a better chance of getting deeper into the playoff than Philly does. As weird as that sounds, and I know Philly has the lead, but
no, I agree.
Miami right now, I mean, Jimmy Butler's hurt again, which is not a shock. Kyle Lowry, just like I said all along, guess who's hurt with a hamstring pull? Kyle Lowry. He missed time because of personal issues throughout the season. Now he has a hamstring pull in the playoffs. All right, so now you have, Toronto started, and goddamn, they're lucky they have Victor Oladipo. Because I mean, holy shit, that guy looked good in last night. So I mean, they're lucky they have him because that's a guy who's actually a really, really, really good player. And the only criticism he could take is he can't stay healthy.
Right. But so what it's looking like is the Celtics will probably play Milwaukee. I think it'll be a decent series, but I think Milwaukee probably takes that like 4-1, 4-2.
Yeah, but Milwaukee has a tendency to lose games.
No, that's true. And I mean, right now Middleton's hurt, so
Yeah, but by that point, you think he would be back. And honestly, though, the way Grayson Allen is playing and things like that, like the Bucks are a very relatively deep team compared
true.
to a lot of other teams in the league. I think they're deeper than the Celtics are. The Celtics, I mean, they could pull Peyton Pritchard off the bench and Derek White, but those guys really didn't get a lot of action. Grant Williams played well, but that's only, Daniel Tice was there, but they're not really that good of players. They're just filling guys.
Right. Right. And I mean, when you're playing teams with like Milwaukee per se, those kind of guys will only get you so far because like right away you got Giannis, Drew, and Middleton that you have to worry about as a defender. And then their role players are better than the role players of Boston. So then it comes down to which role player is going to outplay the other one. And I
Well, if
mean,
you look at like the Bucks, they have a lot of guys who can score on any given night. You have
right.
Brook Lopez who could just come out of nowhere and start shooting threes. Bobby Portis can get hot. Grayson Allen had a good game during the
Pat
series.
Connaughton could put up some points.
Exactly. They have Serge Ibaka who can come in and do a little something. I mean, Wes Matthews was starting. I mean, they have a pretty. If they need defense, Javon Carter. I mean, they have a deep team.
Yeah, no, that's true for sure. But you brought up, you were bringing up the Heat, and so minus injuries. Let's just say Butler and Lowry come back. Does that make them good enough for the finals?
I've never been a Heat guy. I'm still not convinced on the Heat. I'm not convinced on Boston. So, yeah.
Do the Hawks need to like blow something up?
The Hawks?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They need to get rid of all these guys who get hurt all the time.
True.
They need to get rid of Bogdanovich. They need to get rid of Gallinari. Clint Capella is so injury prone it's not even funny.
And Okongwu's a better version of him already, so
Mike's boy.
Yeah, exactly. He's a better version of Capella as it is, and so like they pretty much don't even have a need for him anymore. And on top of that, they need an actual second star player because John Collins is not good. He got roasted this whole series.
Well, in his defense, he does have a finger issue, a foot issue, so he's got some. John Collins is not a horrible player. John Collins is not the problem.
I'm not saying he's the problem, but he's also not the answer.
No, but there's a lot of guys on that team that just. I mean, when you have DeLon Wright playing better than, some of your starters.
Right.
I mean, Bogdanovich, he's had this knee issue for the entire year. Gallinari's always hurt. Clint Capella's always hurt. I mean, Clint Capella tore his Achilles, and then he's missed a lot of time over the past couple of years, and now he hyperextends his knee in the play-in. He tries to come back, and only to get re-injured and be out. So...
Yeah, the big thing to me that seemed different also this season compared to last season when the Hawks actually, went to the conference finals, They ended up being lucky enough to play some teams that had some issues in terms of the Knicks and the Sixers. And then B, it's just like the Miami Heat played defense on him one way consistently. They trapped him, they sent triple teams, double teams at him, they played him straight up, everything. And they didn't
let him
worry.
get anywhere but the perimeter, and they weren't letting him get inside and things like that. So
Right. And they didn't worry if the rest of the team beat them because they knew the rest of the team wasn't going to beat them in 4 games. What I think the issue was with the Knicks and everybody, they might be able to lock up Trey one time, but then the moment the rest of the team started shooting well, they're like, oh crap, we got to cover everybody now because they're going to beat us. But Miami was like, you know what? They probably will beat us one game if everyone gets hot. But they won't do that 4 games, which
and
is the way you got to do it.
Yeah, the Hawks do that. The Hawks are that team. They look like dog shit one game, and the next game they're draining every shot because they got a lot of guys who can shoot.
Right.
But when you have DeAndre Hunter as your second leading scorer, not saying he's a bad player, but you have other guys who are expected to fill that role who just have been complete dog shit.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Trae Young can't do it.
Cam Reddish.
What'd you say?
They shouldn't have traded away Cam Reddish.
I mean, yeah, Kevin Knox had more points than Trae Young in 2 separate games this series, so that does say a lot. But yeah, they should not have traded Cam Reddish.
I mean, when you're a superstar like that, though, like Trae Young, you can't play like dog shit like that. Like I could see one game, but consistently, you can't do that.
He had more turnovers than he had shots made.
Yeah, it's just you're not going to win like that.
No, not at all. So let's move. Actually, we didn't. Before we move to the Western Conference, we didn't talk about this when we were talking about Sixers and Nets. Let's revisit the trade now. To me, it's kind of been a lose-lose for both teams.
It's to be determined on the Nets side, I think.
I mean, yeah, you got to determine when or if Ben Simmons comes back. I mean, you have to re-sign Andre Drummond. There's no guarantee he comes back.
We don't need to re-sign Andre Drummond. We'll be fine.
We will.
Seth Curry.
In what way?
Seth Curry threw up a few stinkers in that series. So it does come down to Ben Simmons, and if you can use those 2 first-round picks either to draft players that will help or to trade them to get players that will help.
Well, here's the thing, too. The Nets don't have any money.
Yeah, that's the big issue.
You're not going to get anybody. All your money's locked up.
They have 3 max players, right?
They have Simmons. You don't have any money. And then you're paying Joe Harris, which I think he's the 4th highest salary on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have any money. What are you going to do? Get veterans on league minimums? And like I told you before, like these super teams don't work.
Right.
The Suns have proven that. The Bucks have proven that. I mean, the Bucks have been pretty responsible from a fiscal standpoint to where they actually acquired good assets who can play. The Lakers maxed all their money out on guys who didn't even play half the season, and then they were stuck with the Avery Bradleys and the Carmelo Anthonys of the world.
I mean, look at the super teams who did end up winning. It was because they had depth on top of the super team. Like the Warriors, when they won, I mean, Andre Iguodala won a Finals MVP in there. And then even if you go back to the Miami Heat, you still had guys like Ray Allen, Mario Chalmers, and all of them actually contributing in big ways in the playoffs. So when it came to the Nets, it was just kind of like, who is going to be that other guy to step up? Because
Goran Dragic stepped up a little bit.
I mean, a tiny bit, but not enough to make a difference.
Well, you're going to see a lot of young guys step up, I think, for the Nets. I like what Kessler Edwards brings to the table. We both like what Cam Thomas brings to the table from an offensive standpoint. Nick Claxton better shoot free throws every day of the offseason until he hits them at like 70%.
Say Ben Simmons comes back. Is it possible to play Claxton and Simmons at the same time?
Fuck no.
No, but that's fine because you don't have to.
Yeah, why don't you build a lineup around Nico Claxton, Andre Drummond, and Ben Simmons?
They'll grab every rebound, that's for sure.
That's if people miss shots. But I mean, yeah, you like Cam Thomas, Kessler Edwards, both guys I think are solid rotational pieces. Claxton does need to up his game, especially offensively. But then, like, a lot of these super teams are built on the deep veteran presence too. I mean, did Aldridge even play at all?
No.
Like, why not give him a shot? Like, at that point, it's 0-3. You might as well try something. Like, the Raptors at least just threw out an entire lineup of 6'9" guys and had, like, Thaddeus Young bringing the ball up, and they won the game.
Yeah, it's I mean, they had nobody to run the point, so you got, Scotty Barnes. Literally, your point guard is Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam,
And Gary Trent.
And Gary Trent, he's not really, and then,
right.
I mean, Malachi Flynn's not going to make an appearance, so.
No. And that's what I mean. Like, Nick Nurse is at least throwing stuff out there and being like, you know what? What do we have to lose?
God bless the fact that they're smart enough to draft Scotty Barnes, because that guy, like, there was no transition period for him.
No.
He's like NBA ready right now.
If they did take Suggs, they would not have made the playoffs.
No. Scotty Barnes is perfect for that.
What'd you say, Mike?
I said Suggs will be better than Barnes.
Not even close.
Just wait.
Not even close.
Just wait.
Suggs,
we all know every prediction I make comes true.
That's not true at all.
More often than not, they do.
Suggs is not even going to be within the same realm as Scotty Barnes at any point.
We'll see.
But either way, yeah, to me, so far the trade is a lose-lose. Harden has looked pretty bad, minus that 6-game stretch that they first started.
Wait, what did I tell you was going to happen with James Harden?
First off, I said from the beginning I'm not a Harden fan.
Wait, it's miraculous that when you get to the playoffs and they don't call fouls every time you shoot the ball, that he turns into a turtle.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the biggest thing against Harden in this time that, like, he's past his prime, is that he still thinks he's going to get every single call that he's ever gotten. And so he doesn't even try to score. He just tries to get fouled and then bitches and everything when he doesn't. So then how does that help the rest of the team? I mean, it was cool when he was acting as like a mentor to Maxey. Maxey really loved it. Maxey was taking off. He was playing great. But now when the Raptors play their like 6'9" lineup, Maxey's getting locked up because he's a smaller guard. So like Scotty Barnes playing defense on Maxey has been a great adjustment by Nick Nurse. And then James Harden, for some reason, tries to get a switch where either Scotty Barnes is guarding him or Thaddeus Young is guarding him, and then he can't get by them because they're too big and he's too old and slow. So it's like, I don't understand where his thought process is. He's also not being as aggressive as he was just like a couple of weeks ago, which Joel Embiid has specifically said in post-game interviews. And so, yeah, just nothing's been working. I mean, Paul Millsap is so bad that he hasn't even played. So Millsap is a huge non-factor.
Honestly, I forgot he was on the team till you just said something.
Yeah, he's just sitting at the end of the bench. DeAndre Jordan hasn't even gotten in either because he's also terrible.
Yeah, the team is just not good. And Harden he did not adapt by any means. He just kept trying to play the same way he's always played.
Yep. And
this is what happened. So.
And that's the thing, when you like, I feel like sometimes these superstars have to take a page out of Vince Carter's book. Like Vince Carter completely transformed his game to become like a 3-and-D wing once he realized he's not the same Vince Carter anymore. And he was still a playable person. He was still a contributor. And it's like, you gotta learn at some point you can't do the same things you always did. So stop. Just stop trying. Do something else.
That's all I think about when I think of Vince Carter.
Oh, I mean, because he's one of the best dunkers of all time. If not the best.
Nets of all time.
That too. So, let's go to the West, to Mike's boy. Mike's fake tough guy. Karl Anthony Towns. And the Minnesota Timberwolves. Will they ever hold a lead again?
I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I know you just say it's Mike, but I'm like...
They're a young team. They're a young team. They're learning. Next year will be their year.
They've been a young team for the last, 10 years. How old is D'Angelo Russell?
26, maybe?
He is... Yes, he's 26. Cat's what? Also 26?
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Anthony Edwards is younger as well. But then, it's like, outside of that, I mean, Beverly's been around. And...
Yeah, don't worry about them. They'll be fine.
Fine as in what? Like, they'll finally
They're
make the
going to
second
the Western
round?
Conference semis next year. Book it right now. Mark,
The second round.
Clip that. Clip that.
So, the second round.
All right, the Western Conference Finals.
Next year?
Next year, Nuggets, Wolves, Western Conference Finals.
I feel like you're going to go 0 for 2.
Is your blood sugar okay after...
I just have some sour cream and onion chips.
All right, well, you need to check your blood sugar because I think you're getting a little delirious here.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Like, I could see the Nuggets.
Even the Nuggets, I don't know, because they still got to figure out all their injuries, and then they have to figure out if they're going to be any good or not.
Well, I mean, I could see the Nuggets at least, if they get Michael Porter back and Jamal Murray back.
True. No, I mean, they definitely have a much better shot at it.
D'Angelo Russell's not a consistent scorer, at least in Minnesota, he's not.
Mm-mm.
Anthony Edwards, he just had 22 points and a rebound last night. And Karl Anthony Towns has made some pretty boneheaded mistakes.
Chill.
What was that one game that Karl Anthony Towns, he had 6 points?
Right. And then they asked him about it, and he was acting like a bitch.
Yeah, he was like, no comment. Next question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're the superstar, all right? You're supposed to be this big-time, big-deal player, and you're not going to answer a question because it hurts your feelings a little bit.
Right. Exactly. And the only reason nobody brought it up, in social media or the media or anything, is because nobody gives a fuck about Minnesota.
Right.
If that was
Except
Embiid,
for Mike.
If that was Embiid, if that was Kevin Durant, if that was anybody else in a slightly bigger market, that would have been all over the place. But because it's Minnesota and nobody cares and nobody thinks that they're even going to do anything, they're kind of just like, yeah, who cares?
Oh, they would have fucking spit him. They would have chewed him up and fucking spit him right out.
Oh yeah. So it's ridiculous that he even acted like he was that great after that bad of a game. And I mean, this is a team that it's funny that they even had to have a debate about if they celebrated too much about the play-in game because they acted like they won the finals.
That was funny. That was hilarious when they did that.
Beverly was on the scorer's table.
Yeah, he thought he was Dwayne Wade or something.
But yeah, I don't see Minnesota beating Memphis, especially after that heartbreaker of a last-second win with Ja Morant beating the buzzer last night. I don't see Minnesota coming back from that. But See, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think Minnesota is going to make the Western Conference Finals next year, because you're still going to have Phoenix. Phoenix is still going to be good.
I'm sorry. I just saw a tweet and I thought you guys would laugh. I'm sorry to interrupt and change the subject here, but it says Tiger Woods broke both of his legs, nearly had one amputated, and still came back before Ben Simmons.
Oh god! I mean, even Robert Williams came back before Ben Simmons.
Well, that's because he's the Time Lord.
True. So the last couple topics, the Pelicans. I just like what I see out of the Pelicans. I think they could be a above play-in team next year with Zion back.
Yeah, it looks like they're just missing a chunky man.
They look like they're missing Mike at the 4.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I could shoot better than Zion.
No, no cap. But excuse me, hold on.
I don't know why, guys. Dennis looks like he lost a few pounds over there. I don't know. I'm looking at him with that. Maybe it's the haircut.
I don't know.
Dennis looking like he could suit up, in a few weeks.
The gray shirt looks a little slimming.
Yeah. That's looking good over there.
All right, boys, put your penises away, okay? I know I look good, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Is that a filter?
A what?
Do you have a filter on?
There's nothing filtered about this guy.
But, hey, Brandon Ingram?
So the Lakers should have their head examined, anybody. And I mean the Lakers, if the Lakers were a person, they should have their head examined.
Oh, yeah.
By letting Lonzo go, Alex Caruso, Brandon Ingram.
Even Julius Randle.
Julius Randle, as sad as that sounds right now.
D'Angelo Russell.
So you have a Pelicans team who, Herb Jones is just all of a sudden is a great player defensively.
Herb Jones looks great.
And then you have Valanciunas who, for anybody who, there might have been one guy in this group who was criticizing giving up Steven Adams for Jonas Valanciunas. And look at what Steven Adams has been doing in the postseason compared to Jonas Valanciunas beyond game 1. Brandon Ingram looks good. CJ McCollum looks good.
The only Pelican that consistently is disappointing has been Devonte Graham, sorry.
Yeah, but he's been disappointing all season.
But that's what I mean, like.
And then you have Jose Alvarado,
who was supposed to go to Rutgers until Georgia Tech threw a bag at him.
He's one of my favorite players to watch in this postseason. He's been amazing.
Well, when you throw a bunch of hookers at 18-year-old kids, what do you think is going to happen?
That's also true.
You know what I mean? Hookers can make you do things.
Especially when you're in college.
Right. So, the Pelicans are just, they're on the upswing. They got a great coach. And
I just want to say, my 2 Coach of the Year candidates have had 2 of the either most surprising or best looking teams in this postseason.
Who were my candidates? Who did I pick? I think I picked Chauncey Billups, which he didn't.
Yeah, you did. I forget who you picked in the East, but I picked Willie Green and Ime Udoka.
Yeah, but didn't you pick somebody else that was really fucking stupid?
I said Ime Udoka.
Yeah.
And that was stupid for the longest time, but then they got the 2nd seed.
Yeah, but we talked about that.
But I also said Willie Green was my Western Conference one.
I'm not buying the Celtics by any means.
I get it, but hey, he was in the running. He wasn't a finalist, but he was in the running for Coach of the Year. And Willie Green's looking like a good coach right now. He just needed that first season. Now he's in his first postseason.
Yeah, he looks like a really good. If I was watching the games, and they showed him talking to during timeouts and stuff. He's got a good handle on things.
It looks like the players really respect him and want to listen to what he has to say.
Well, he looks like he can handle himself. I wouldn't, if I was a player, I wouldn't.
Former Sixer.
Wasn't he on the team with like Eric Snow?
Yeah, and Allen Iverson. Oh man. Tyler agrees with you, Dennis. Celtics are still frauds, he says.
Tyler's a fucking smart guy. If even for a 9-year-old, he knows what he's talking about.
Wait, is this guy really 9?
No.
I haven't had any definitive proof that he's not in elementary school.
He's either 18 or 19.
Well, you
Tyler-
know Dennis likes him young.
Oh, God.
Tyler, did you do your homework today, honey? If you want, Uncle Dennis will look it over for you, okay?
That made it creepier.
Unless you have math, then you don't want to. You send it to Mike.
Mike's good at that.
He's one of those people.
J-E-W.
It starts with a J.
The few. The proud.
I wonder how Tyler's report card has been, though. Tyler, you get good grades this year, pal?
He didn't have much else to say.
I think on that note, I'm going to,
What, are you hungry again?
Dude, I came home and was starving and went on to go to bed. I was tired. Katie was watching Selling Sunset until 12:30 in the morning, on Netflix, which I found out my boss at work told me that they have these Bluetooth headphones that you can connect to the TV. I need to get those.
For who? For you or for
her?
Well, yeah, because she probably can't hear the fucking TV over your snoring.
True. Or you could just put the TV in a different room. We don't have a TV in our bedroom.
It's her room that we sleep in.
Who's the man in that house?
Well, it's not my house.
So not
you make it your house. You come in, you say, "Listen, goddammit, I'm the man."
So that means she's the man and the woman of the house.
What is this? Is that how you do it?
What?
It's vagina. That's what you got.
All right. I think I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, honey,
guys.
take care.
I will talk to you guys later. Everyone, thank you for watching.
Are we done?
Oh, you wanted to get something off your chest?
No, I thought you and I were gonna.
We can. I mean, we have 2 more topics if you wanted to finish them.
Okay, I get
No, we can keep going. I just, Dennis was getting all weird.
I just want to make sure.
None of you have commented on my title for my name in the chat here.
Well, yeah, we know you're anti-Boston Celtics.
No, I just don't like Deuce.
I was like, what did Deuce McAllister ever do to you?
No, I'm talking about Deuce Tatum.
What did Deuce Tatum do to you?
I sent my friend a GIF of in Anchorman when they punt Baxter off the bridge.
Oh, said, why'd you send him peanut butter? You sent your friend peanut butter?
No, a GIF. A GIF.
What? It's just Tatum. It's Tatum's son. Why are you hating on a guy's son?
Because he sits courtside at every game. He has his outfit is worth half of my yearly salary. He's got a Fendi underwear and a Louis Vuitton jacket and Balenciaga headband and retro Jordans. I'm like, dude, come on, can the kid just wear Nike?
The thing is, he probably gets all of it for free too, which is insane.
Probably.
Why does it have to be Nike?
Well, I think isn't Tatum sponsored by Jordan, isn't he?
Whatever.
I think it's Jordan.
Fuck Tatum.
But so are the Warriors back in the title picture for you guys?
Mm-hmm.
What Mike means to say is yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they look pretty damn good, especially with Jordan Poole, which should have definitely been a Most Improved Player of the Year finalist at the very least.
I mean, Ja Morant was good last year.
Exactly.
So you're not going to give it. Jordan Poole has nothing. He's not going to win any more awards in his entire life. This was his best chance to win something.
Exactly.
Outside of Sixth Man of the Year.
Exactly.
Which, knowing how everybody in the Warriors gets hurt, he'll be starting most of his tenure.
And then John Morant, which was a really nice act as a teammate, gave his Most Improved Player of the Award to Desmond Bane. But then I was like, he doesn't deserve it over the others either.
Desmond Bane's pretty
Jordan Poole
good,
is not going to
don't get me wrong.
Jordan Poole is the second best player on that team.
Over who?
Over Clay, over Draymond, over Wiggins.
Have a good night, everybody.
I can give it to him over Wiggins, but I can't give it to him over Dre and Clay. Do you see how Dre is playing the best defense on Jokic out of anybody in the league?
The only issue I ever had with Draymond is the same issue I've had with a lot of people.
He just can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy.
Yep.
Greatest ability, availability.
And Clay, I cannot put Poole over Clay. I just can't do that.
No, why would you? Yes. You're stupid, Mike.
Clay's been playing good now, too.
Dumb Snoopy shirt. In your face with fucking sour cream. Who eats sour cream and onion chips?
I hate sour cream and onion.
I mean, I'm not going to throw it out of bed, but you know what I mean.
No, I got you. I've never been a sour cream and onion.
I've never been a potato chip guy. Like, I just feel like they're all bark, no bite.
Yeah.
Like the flavor, but it just doesn't feel like I could eat like 2 bags of chips and it's not going to do anything for me.
And I mean, when it comes to chips, I'd rather have tortilla chips.
I'd rather have a fucking sandwich.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if I'm talking about only chips, I'd rather go tortilla chips with, like, some guac or maybe some queso dip.
You lost me at guac.
Some
guac is the
dip.
most disgusting shit on the planet.
Oh, you haven't had good guac, then?
No, I probably have, and I probably don't. Yeah, I'm good.
Like you go to Plaza Azteca and they make the guac right there in front of you?
You don't know what Plaza Azteca is.
And where they come out with the cart and they make it right there?
Yeah.
For one, who cares? Like, it's not that fascinating to watch guac.
I'm not saying it's fascinating. I'm just saying
it's
good.
I've always wanted to watch somebody make guac. That tastes like I've always wanted to watch somebody make a fucking booger. Because that's what it tastes like. It's like when you go to Chinese, the sumo, right?
Hibachi.
You
racist.
Hibachi's Japanese.
There's a sumo. It's called sumo. It's hibachi. But when you go to hibachi, like, you got to sit there. It's loud as fuck. You can't hear anybody. And then you got to sit there and you got to watch them do the same shit that they did the last 5 times that you went there, which is the flaming onion that's like a volcano. They have the thing that pees sake.
Sake.
Which Mike loves getting, peed on. And
Dennis is probably just mad because he's the one.
Don't forget the egg heart.
The egg heart, exactly.
Dennis is probably mad because he's the only one that misses when he throws the shrimp.
Time? You know what I found out for the first
time? That's not true.
I went for hibachi a couple weekends ago. You know what I found out for the first time? What? That brown fried rice is just white rice with soy sauce.
You didn't know that?
I never knew that until he just said something to me. Just now. I just learned it just now.
How do I know more about food than you two?
Well, that's a healthy food.
Yeah, no.
But it's the same shit when you go to hibachi. So I just like everybody's like, you want to go to hibachi? I'm like, no, I don't. It's loud. I shouldn't have to go to a place where I feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack by the time I'm fucking done with it.
See, I'm not saying I'm intrigued by them just making it in front of me. I'm just saying it's fresh because they're making it in front of you.
Yeah, but you never get enough to eat, I feel like, either.
Well, Dennis, you have a big stomach to fill. You get a ton to eat at a hibachi.
Bro, you see me fucking eating sour cream and onion potato chips right now?
No, you're just drinking a regular Coke.
No, it's not.
Coke Zero.
Is that the Starlight?
Starlight?
It's the Starlight. 0 sugar. And I got my water. So, asshole.
Dennis is gonna call me after the show and apologize.
No, I'm turning my phone off.
He's blocking your number.
Yeah.
Dennis wouldn't do that. Dennis calls me 3 times a day.
That's not true. Twice.
We both could call you out on something about your phone calls, but we're not going to.
Mine?
Yeah,
What are you
doing?
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to go there, honey.
There's certain situations in
You
your phone
do
calls.
not want to go there right now.
All right, let's end the live and tell me what you guys are talking about.
On that note,
That is all of our topics, unless you guys have anything else to get.
I'm hungry. I've had enough. I'm good.
Okay. That's it for us. Thank you, everybody. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications when we go live next time. We appreciate it. We're at 125 subscribers right now, so we're on our way up to 200. Everyone else, we are everywhere else you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google, everywhere. Make sure you share it with your friends.
Subscribers will get, the next 100 subscribers will get a free Mike Bash 2023 calendar.
Oh, 2023 calendar. There you go.
Yes, but it's going to be Mike covered in various food products.
All right, bye.
And Tyler says, see y'all. He's going to go do his homework on this.
Right. Good boy.
But that's it for us. Thank you for listening to the Atlantic Files, the #1 podcast on the #1 division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.